So far, we've looked at fairly short commands, although some of the file names that we've interacted with have some rather long paths. The bash shell has something called bash completion, which can help so that you don't have to type as much. While officially called bash completion, it's more commonly known as the tab completion. For example, instead of specifying the date command, I could specify a DA and hit the tab command, and it would complete it if at all possible. If there's not a unique choice, then what I can do is hit tab a second time and it'll tell me what the choices are. So for example here, I see Dane tool and date. If I add the T and hit a tab key, it'll complete out for date and give me that command. This gets useful for longer commands such as what is. All I needed to do was type the first little bit and I was able to see what the command was using the tab key to complete that. If I say WH tab and hit it a second time, I see all the commands that start with WH. So this is also a way to explore my system and begin to learn what commands exist. From here I could go back to the manual pages or info pages to find out more about these different commands. It works by default with commands, but it also works with file names. So when I do my ls of etc/h, I can find all of the files in the etc directory that start with H by hitting tab twice. As I begin to make this unique, such as HO, it completes out as far as it can, in this case HOST, and I hit tab a second time and I see the narrowed down choices. If I say S and hit tab, there's still multiple choices, but I'm interested in specifically the host file, so I'll end at that particular point and hit enter. You can do this with multiple files as well. So I can do an ls of etc hosts, as well as etc password and etc group, until I have things unique, as well as my var log messages, or var www, vhosts, my sites, HTML. I can do it with each portion of the path name as I continue through. Tab completion for commands and for file names as arguments comes with all the bash shells. Some utilities will also provide additional bash completion scripts that can be used to complete their other arguments. Not all commands will provide these, and some need some separate installation in order to make them available. But let's look at an example or two. One of the commands on the system is a systemctl command that's used to control services on this version of CentOS. If I say st tab, it tells me that the arguments that are available are start, status, and stop. If I hit SA and hit tab twice, it narrows it down to start and status. And if I say status and then give it the name of a service that I know exists, I would get information on that particular service. The bash completion scripts for systemctl are even familiar with a number of the service names, and so I may not even have to present all of that information in order to get my command formed. I can say portions of systemctl using the tab to complete that, status, and H tab twice, and it'll show me what services start with an H. HTTPD service, for example, and I can check the status of the web server that's running on this particular system. I can do the same thing with some other commands in this version of CentOS, like the firewall cmd command with a -- list, and it'll show me that there are a number of different lists. I can list all of the firewall settings, or just the ports, or just the services that are opened up, and it will give me that particular information. So with tab completion, I can do this with commands, starting it and hitting tab a second time and seeing what commands are available, giving another character. If it's unique, the tab will complete the command name. I can also use tab completion in order to put in the name of a file. see the choices or to complete it without having to know the spelling or the case of that particular file, and continue to work with that particular command. And in some cases, I can give tab completion for options on specific cases as well. The tab completion can be used and useful when working with any of the commands that we've covered in this lesson, from creating directories, files, to copying, moving, and deleting files, as well as navigating the system with our current working directory, listing files, changing directories, and displaying the contents of various text files.